Hi, Bec. Thanks for being part of our SIMNI Talk It Up, the Mental Health Week. It's great to have you as part of it. Can you just share a little bit about who you are, what your role is at work?
Yeah, sure. I work for a suicide prevention service called the Way Back Support Service. I'm one of the support coordinators there, and we support people as young as 15 upwards that have had a suicide attempt or a crisis that present to the Redcliffe or Caboolture Hospital.
Okay. And many of those are presenting obviously with mental health issues?
Yes, I would say about 95% of them have underlying mental health, either diagnosed or undiagnosed, but there is a form of mental health, be it anxiety, depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, borderline personality. It all varies.
I know when we've talked about support for young people in the past, one of the barriers is that they need to get a mental health care plan in place before they can access appropriate services. And to some people, young people in particular, that's almost an impediment to actually trying to access that first phase. Can you talk a little bit about once they contact you or the service, what sort of things you can do to support them?
Yep, so we can make we can refer through a particular service called Brisbane Mind, and they actually don't need a mental health care plan. They get 16 sessions free before they need a mental health care plan. But if they do need a mental health care plan because it's not something they want to do, go through that referral pathway, we will take them to the GP. We will go into the GP's appointment and support them through that. And then we'll also attend and provide transport to their first psych appointment and be there through that process so they don't have to do that alone, that they've always got someone there supporting them.
Do you find most of these young people have family support, or a lot of them kind of on their own and a little disengaged from family and close friends?
Yeah, some people don't have natural support, so they don't have family or friends, and they feel quite isolated. Some have fractured relationships with their family, so they don't feel that they have the support that they need to get their life back on track.
So how long have you worked in this field for, Bec?
I've worked in suicide prevention for nearly 2 years now, in the mental health field over 3, nearly 4 years.
Okay. Have you seen emerging issues that are impacting on these young people more than others? I would imagine COVID-19 and the social isolation has added another layer to some of their anxiety and mental health concerns.
Yeah, definitely. COVID has made a huge impact on young people's mental health and accessing services, because some services haven't been able to provide the face-to-face support that they would usually provide, and the young people utilise that service. That can be really challenging for someone that's used to going into a service and getting that support face-to-face and not having that because of the restrictions.
So what kind of strategies do you suggest that community and other people that might have young people like this around us, what are the things that we might be able to do to support them?
Just ask them, are they okay? And if they're not, start a conversation about, I like to say, if they're not okay, what does that mean for you? And what does that look like? And how can I help? And have, I guess, a resource in mind. So Beyond Blue or Headspace, they also have online chats as well as 24-hour support. So they're always there for the young person. And just to sit and chat and talk and take that young person to a community centre, or take them to the GP and sit with them if you know them well enough, or that they're open to that support, just so they have that support there and that advocacy, so they don't have to do that alone.
I know one of the young friends that I sort of support from a distance, she lives interstate in Victoria, country Victoria, but often I'll get some very late night texts where it's just a hi, and it's, how are you? And this lockdown has kind of forced her into a situation where the depression has come back, and she's feeling like everybody is judging her. You know, she's not feeling that she can get out and go to the gym as much as she used to, and just not feeling really well about herself. And she doesn't like doing FaceTime. So you have to be really patient with just keeping the local text going, sharing a little bit about what you're doing. But I'm pleased she reaches out, you know, just for that hello, is someone there? And you go.
And that's the most important, when someone reaches out, that you connect with them and respond. And it doesn't matter how you respond, even, hey, how you going? Or how's your day been? It's just having that interaction. And some people don't like face-to-face or FaceTime or Zoom or Skype. They prefer text messages and chat groups because it's really individualized how someone wants to communicate their feelings to other people.
What are some of the activities young people have been doing? You know, like once they've reached out for help, they know they can get some online conversations happening, but are they doing anything like physically? Some of them may not have a job to go to, and it's going to be even harder. Are they taking up any kind of activity to help them with their mental health and wellness?
Yep, so we link them in with Redcliffe Youth Space at Redcliffe. They are great support for young people, and also the neighbourhood centres. Some of them have monthly barbecues, even though there is COVID, there is a restriction, but they can link in with those services. And when there's another service called Tribe, they're a social group, so they go for coffee or a drink and a cake once a week. And people that are feeling lonely and isolated can connect with other people of any age, young or old, and really build that connection so they have those supports in place. And friendships are made from those groups.
Yeah, that's so important, isn't it? Now,
Bec, especially,
No, go on, sorry.
No, especially when the isolation, they don't have the natural support or the friendship base, they can really connect with other people that are feeling the same way and can understand what they're going through.
Are many of these young people homeless? Or most of them
couch surfing? Some are couch surfing, some are at risk of homelessness, and some are homeless. Yes.
Just adds to the challenges that they face.
And also we see domestic violence in young people as well, at a younger demographic than it used to be. So that also adds another layer. Or maybe they could, their family could be involved in child safety. So there is so many layers to putting them in crisis.
Yeah, we certainly need to be more aware of it and have some of those contact details readily available, so that if we are talking to people or families that are trying to support young people, we can provide that information for them, which is really great. Now, Bec, you're no stranger to personally dealing with mental health issues within your own personal life as well as the family. Would you like to share a little bit about how you cope with that as well as being at the front end?
Sure. I have a lived experience with bipolar. I was diagnosed at the age of 20. So I have come a long way since first being diagnosed. I have a lot of insight, but that comes with a lot of self-care, a lot of working on myself, and support from family and friends. I really believe that being open and acknowledging your own mental health and acknowledging when you struggle to reach out. It doesn't have to be to a family member or a friend. It can be to a support service like Lifeline or Beyond Blue or Kids Helpline, Headspace. But I think the most important thing is to reach out and saying, hey, I'm not doing okay. I really believe in looking after your mental health, and sleep hygiene for me is really important. And doing the work I do, and sometimes it is very, very high stress. I believe in self-care is hugely plays a big part in my looking after my mental health.
Yeah. What kind of strategies do you think we can promote during Mental Health Week, and certainly in the lead up to it, around, talking it up, being in a safe space, having a yarn up? What would your key message be to the people in community, whether it's the young people that you're working with, their families, their friends, or just, being part of that caring, safe community that we hope we can continue to create for people so that they're not feeling as isolated and vulnerable?
So the young people that are struggling, that it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to reach out. And if you feel for the community and family and friends that see our young people struggle, ask them how they are going and reach out to them, because you may be the one that saves a life, and you may be the only person that asks a question and asks if they're okay, and be brave to have that conversation and to have that hard talk, because I think it's so important to ask your family, friends, co-workers, are they doing okay if you see them struggling?
And I think what you've raised there, Bec, is a really important point, that we've got to look after each other in the workplace too, because
Yeah.
certainly the work that you're doing, and a lot of those who are impacted by caring for people, or even even trying to console people who have lost family members during this COVID-19 pandemic. It's
Yeah.
really changed how people are able to share that grief, as well as look
Yeah.
forward to the day when things might be different. But we can also start to determine how we look at what the future might look like for us coming out of this as well. So, Bec, thanks so much for being part of our SIMNI, yarning it up in a safe space.
Thank you.
Obviously, Zoom and these kind of communications, if people are brave enough to get on them, are a safe place, because, you're in
Yeah.
that environment, and, a lot of people are starting to get a lot better at trusting these online forums too, to be able to share those messages.
Yeah.
So fantastic, Bec. I'm looking forward to your cousin being part of our virtual music concert as well. Can you tell me a
Thank
little
you.
bit about the group that they're in and what they do?
Yeah. They're a band called Good Oak. They are, I think, a kind of a folk kind of music. And some of them are lawyers, teachers, all do it for the love of music. So they're really looking forward to that.
Awesome. And that's a big part of their own mental health and self-care, and having a bit of fun together. And I think
Yeah, definitely.
that's a key message, isn't it? Is to find something that you're passionate about, and, look to have a little bit of fun. And sometimes it can be incredibly simple things that give us that opportunity.
Yeah.